Have you ever felt so overwhelmed by fear that you just wanted to give up? Not because you don't love God, not because you lack faith, but because the fear, the pressure, the weariness is just too much. Even great men and women of God have felt that way. Elijah, one of the most powerful prophets in Scripture, called down fire from heaven. He stood boldly before hundreds of prophets, of false prophets. He witnessed God's supernatural provision and victory. But after all that, when Queen Jezebel threatened his life, fear overtook him. He ran into the wilderness, collapsed under a juniper tree, and said, "It is enough. Now, Lord, take my life." Yes, even Elijah wanted to quit. But here's the beautiful part. God didn't scold him. He didn't say, "Where's your faith?" God met Elijah with rest, food, and a gentle whisper. He strengthened him, not with shame, but with compassion. And that's what I want you to know today. Fear doesn't disqualify you. It reveals where you need more of God's presence, and He is ready to meet you right where you are. Welcome to Unlimited Inner Peace Podcast. I'm Julissa, and I'm glad you're here today. We want to talk today about how to overcome fear, not by pretending it doesn't exist, but by facing it with truth, faith, and the power of God's promises. Fear is not weakness. It is an emotion, part of how God designed us. Fear alerts us to danger, but when fear becomes constant, irrational, or spiritual, it can paralyze our progress and distort God's truth. The Bible doesn't ignore fear. In fact, variations of the phrase "do not be afraid" appear over 365 times, one for each day. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Let's break this down. Fear not. Not because the threat isn't real, but because God is realer. Is more real. I am with you. Presence is powerful. You're not facing this alone. I will strengthen, help, uphold you. God offers not only comfort, but active support. Fear tries to isolate you, but God's presence promises connection, strength, and help. Fear activates the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, but chronic fear, especially when tied to trauma or anxiety, causes long-term stress responses, elevated cortisol, inflammation, and decreased immune function. But studies also show that meditative prayer, deep breathing, and scripture meditation reduce amygdala activity, bringing peace and clarity. Isn't that wonderful? That's why renewing our minds with scripture isn't just spiritual, it's healing. Let's go deeper into Elijah's story from 1 Kings 18 and 19. He just witnessed one of the greatest miracles in the Bible, calling down fire from heaven to prove God's power. The false prophets were defeated. God's name was glorified. But right after that, Jezebel sent a message saying, "I'll kill you by this time tomorrow." I'm telling you, Jezebel was gangster. She was gangster because she could have just sent some assassins to kill Elijah, but she wanted him to be terrified. She wanted to threaten him, and she wanted him to fear her. So again, she sent the messenger to say to him, I'll kill you by this time tomorrow. And Elijah, this fearless prophet, Elijah ran. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and he prayed that he might die. We can read that in 1 Kings 19:4. Maybe you've been there. After a major victory, fear creeps in. After doing everything right, anxiety whispers, you're still not safe. But here's the beauty of God's response. God sent an angel to feed Elijah, not just once, but twice. God let Elijah rest, and then God spoke, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in a gentle whisper. What are you doing here, Elijah? He didn't say, where's your faith? He said, let's talk. Elijah wasn't dismissed. He was restored. If fear has you running, know this. God's first move isn't to push you harder. It's to nourish and strengthen you. Let's walk through 4 ways we can partner with God to overcome fear. Number 1, name your fear. Don't spiritualize it away. Get specific. Fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, fear of failing. Write it down. Speak it in a prayer. Psalm 34:4 says, I sought the Lord, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. Fear loses power when exposed to the light of God's presence. Number 2, replace lies with truth. 2 Corinthians 10:5 reminds us to take every thought captive. We do that by replacing fear-filled lies with word-filled truth. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. What God gives is power, ability, love, that's security, and a sound mind, clarity. Create a fear versus faith chart. Fear, I'm alone. God's promise, I will never leave you. Hebrews 13:5. I'll fail. The promise, he who began a good work in you will complete it. Philippians 1:6. Fear, I'm not enough. God's promise, my grace is sufficient for you. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Number 3, take small steps of faith. Faith is not the absence of fear, it's movement despite it. In Matthew 14, Peter walks on water towards Jesus, but the wind scares him and he starts to sink. Yet, immediately, Jesus reaches out his hand. Fear may wobble your steps, but it won't stop God's hand. Start small. Have the conversation. Apply for the opportunity. Say yes to what God is prompting. And number 4, lean on community. Fear thrives in isolation. God created us for connection. Ecclesiastes 4:9 and 10 says, 2 are better than 1, for if they fall, one will lift up with his companion. Share your fear with a trusted friend or mentor. Let someone pray over you. You don't have to carry it alone. Beloved, fear is not your identity. It's not your final destination. God sees you, tired, overwhelmed, unsure, and he meets you there. Just like he met Elijah, just like he met Peter. You are not disqualified because you're afraid. You're being invited to go deeper into trust, into rest, and into courage. Here's what I encourage you to do today. Write your fears and God's promises beside them. Meditate on one scripture each day this week. Share in the comments, what fear are you surrendering to God today? And if this video blessed you, will you like and subscribe? That helps this message reach more people who need it. According to the Journal of Behavioral Medicine, individuals who practice faith-based prayer and spiritual meditation experience higher levels of resilience, emotional regulation, and life satisfaction. Faith is not just for your soul, it transforms your brain and your body. Again, if this video blessed you, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone who needs to hear this message. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.